welcome back to my channel. I have a very exciting announcement for the beginning of this video, and that is the fact that I am no longer a teenager. I'm, as of this day, officially not a teenager. You cannot describe me as a teenager. That is not in my vocabulary anymore because now I am a fully fledged adult, even though I don't feel like one. There's just something so freeing about being able to, you know, shed that thing that has been following me around for the last six years? Is it 6 years? As soon as you turn 13 until you're 14, till you're 15, till you're 16, till you're 17, till you're 18, till you're 19, till you're 20. Okay, 7 years. The last 7 years. You wouldn't have thought that I got an A star in maths, would you? No, you would not. What am I doing? Yes! So today, as of when you're watching this, not when I'm filming it, unfortunately, I wish I was, you know, super booktuber that I could just like film a video, edit it, get it uploaded on the same day, but I can't do that, and I wouldn't be able to anyway because I am spending my birthday with my father, which is going to be very fun. However, you are seeing this on my birthday, so happy birthday to Chloe. I'm just kidding, I'm not that egocentric, but I just want this little bunny to make a little guest appearance just because she has basically followed me throughout my whole life. So it's not just my birthday, it's also my bunny's birthday. Her name is Bubba because I couldn't say bunny, so I said Bubba. So happy birthday to Bubba as well, even though I don't actually know when I got her, but we're just gonna like for the sake of it. So she's gonna sit up here. Oh my god, she's so cute. Don't stay. Bloody stay. Thank you. Oh look, she's got her feet turned out. She might be a ballerina. You never know. She's also still got hair on her and her ears. Oh my god, how much bloody hair has she got? Anyway. So, I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what I'm going to do in this video. I know I've got it in the title, but I just thought I would tell you anyway. As it is my 20th birthday when I'm uploading this, I thought that it would be fun to do a tag that has either something to do with birthdays or something to do with 20, seeing as that is my age as of this video going up. So there's a tag that I've seen a couple of my friends do before. I've only seen Sarah and Leah, who I will link down below. I will link their videos down below actually. They're the only ones that I have seen do it. I don't know if any of my other friends have done it. I don't think they have. Basically, I saw Sarah and Leah do the 20 bookish questions tag, and I thought if I'm going to do a tag about 20 bookish questions, it might as well be for my 20th birthday. So that's what we're doing today. That is what you are going to witness. I hope that you are ready for it. I don't know how long it's going to take because it's already probably taken me like 20 minutes just to film an intro. So we could be here until my next birthday, quite frankly. The first question is, how many books are too much in a series? So I don't have a definitive answer for this. I think that when it comes to how many books should be in a series, it's all about how many books you need. I think it really varies for series. If it's a contemporary series, I would say that there's really no need for more than 3 books. Like, I think that a trilogy is completely fine. If we're going into like the fantasy and sci-fi, I think that there are some series that are slightly longer that like it makes sense for it to be longer. For example, if we're talking about a series that follows someone who goes to school and they're at school for 5 or 6 years, then 5 or 6 books or 7 books, not naming names, would be good. I think that that is perfectly fine if it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to sort of make sense. It's once books feel like they have no purpose in their series, that's when it needs to be axed. In the same way that if you're watching a TV series and then all of a sudden like they're following one line and then it just goes off into a tangent, Riverdale, then maybe you should consider just like chopping that tree down and just getting rid of it, you know? The end of it. I don't know what I'm doing. Question number 2 is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Once again, it's a thing of like, if they're necessary. I'm going to be so boring because I've said this before, I'm like a relatively realistic person, so I think that everything has a place and everything should be done in a way that makes sense within the context. So when it comes to cliffhangers, I'm not a fan of the massive, like, if you literally take the word cliffhanger, as in like someone's hanging off the edge of the cliff and you don't know if they're going to survive or if they're going to fall and die, I don't like that kind of thing. Like, I think that dramatic cliffhangers are just a bit stupid, in all honesty. But I think that subtle things, leaving open questions, I don't think even, like, I guess standalones or books at the end of a series, like, I don't think necessarily it should be all neatly tied up. And that goes for, as I said, it can both be, if I'm just reading a single, like a standalone book, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of question so that you can sort of take that story in your mind and build on it and sort of try and think, you know, oh, what could be happening in the future? I think that small cliffhangers are really great. I think that big cliffhangers need to go in the bin along with all the unnecessary seasons of the series, of TV series, and unnecessary books of book series. Question number 3 is whether I prefer hardcover or paperback, and as you can probably tell, I have mostly paperback, and that is mainly because of money, because I can't afford to buy paperbacks, let alone hardbacks. So, and it's also a question of like, would you rather buy 5 paperbacks or 2 hardbacks? Obviously I'm going to go for 5 paperbacks. But in general, like, I would say that hardbacks I prefer the aesthetic of, especially ones like this one. But I find paperbacks a lot easier to read, especially if they're floppy paperbacks. Let me try and find a floppy paperback, because they're honestly my favourite thing. This one is very floppy. Floppy paperbacks are my favourite. Like, if that's, I think anyone would agree actually that floppy paperbacks are great. Question number 4 is your favourite book. I think I've tried to answer this a couple of times. I can't. Like, I can't. Most recently, one of my favourite books from, I think one of my favourite books from last year was The Devil All the Time by Donald Ray Pollock. I just really loved everything about that story, and it was just giving me a lot of things that I was really appreciative of in a book, so that is definitely one of my favourites. One of my favourites of this year so far has been Battle Royale. I think it is my favourite so far this year, but I'm not quite sure. And then another one that I've really been enjoying, I really enjoyed when I read it, was Bunny by Mona Awad, which is a book that is very divisive. Like, honestly, there's camp love it and camp what the hell is going on. To be fair, anyone that loves it is also like, what the hell is going on, but I like it. I can't wait to pick up more of Mona Awad's stuff, especially the one that's coming out soonish. I can't remember when, is it June or July or something like that? I can't remember. Basically, she's got one that's kind of like about theatre majors, maybe. It's something to do with theatre, it's something to do about Shakespeare, and it's something to do with drugs. And it sounds interesting. Oh my god, how have I just realised that? That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. See, this tells you how my brain works, that I literally didn't even realise that shit. Oh my god. Number 5 is your least favourite book. I tend not to pick books up if I don't think I'm gonna really enjoy them, to be quite honest. And I've never given a book less than 2 stars, so it's very difficult. Actually, there was one book that I read because I got it from a charity shop and it was like part of like a deal or something like that. And I got it just because there wasn't really any other books that sounded interesting. And I can't even remember what it was called. The Cutting Room by someone. Yes, so the book that's probably my least favourite book that I've ever read was The Cutting Room by Louise Welsh. It was just like a detective book, like a detective fiction book, but it was like to do with like this man finding really disturbing like Polaroid pictures from ages ago. And it was kind of like, why? And the main character, the detective, he was just like an arsehole as well. So I was like, what's the point in this? I finished it because I don't really DNF books, but like, I did finish it. And I think I gave it 2 stars. I can't really remember what happened. Question number 6, love triangles, yes, no. I would probably say, if I'm going to categorically say what my answer would be, it would be no, just because first of all, I don't read a lot of romance, and love triangles tends to be a trope in romance. Like, it's also in YA, like fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi, but not so much in like a lot of other stuff that I mainly read. And the reason that I would say no as well is because I'm just not a fan of really tropey things, because for me, I feel like a lot of the time when tropes are put into books, it makes them less realistic. And even though I like to read about things that like I can't necessarily relate to, I think one of the things that I really gravitate towards is books that are written in a realistic way, that like if you were put in this situation, this is realistically how you would react. And I think that a lot of the time the way that the love triangle trope is done is not the way that most people would react to it. So I've got to say no. Question 7 is a book that you've most recently DNF'd. And this is not a hard DNF. Like, I don't tend to, if I DNF a book, I would usually go back to it at some point, and I fully intend to go back to this book at some point, because I know that it is, you know, it's deemed a modern classic, loads of people really like it, so I definitely do want to read it. That is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. This is my dad's copy of the book. This is one of the only books that I've ever actually heard my dad say that he finished. And when I started reading it, I was like, how did you read it? Are you sure you read it? Because like, it's really dense. I feel like maybe it's the way it's like written here, because there's like no actual, where the frick is it? Like here. There's no actual like divisions properly between the chapters. And it also like just massive paragraphs, so it kind of felt like reading a textbook. Also a lot of misogyny. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of homophobia in here as well. I didn't really read much homophobia. I did flip to a page and it was like, they're going to a so-called pride something or other, and I was like, okay, that's enough homophobia. Also, the author that wrote this is gay. He came out as gay after having written it, which like is obviously typical, because like, you know, internalized homophobia, and then you sort of reflect that outwards and into your work, and then eventually you come out as gay, and that's a whole other thing. We don't need to talk about that. Basically, I do want to read this book, but I had to DNF it because, well, I wasn't really in the right place to read it anyway. Like, my brain wasn't letting me. But also, like, it's a dense book. I think it's something that requires quite a bit of attention. I know that Sarah has just bought this book, so hopefully we're going to buddy read it at some point, because that would definitely, oh my god, if we could talk about the misogyny and the homophobia together, that's going to make the experience so great. Like, I can just imagine all the comments that Sarah would have to it. Like, I'm ready for that. Number 8, a book that you're currently reading. I'm currently reading 3 books, but we're just going to mention one because it says a book. A book that I'm currently reading is a buddy read, and that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I will, if I can remember, to put everyone who is part of this buddy read in the description box. We've got a live show on the 12th of June, so not far from now. And I've hit a bit of a wall. I'm on page 174, and I haven't read this for like a week. So I'm stuck. I'm not going to DNF it though, because I need to read it, but also, once again, Sarah is going to be apparently mentioned in this video 3,000 times, but Sarah said that she got to a part that was really, really good and juicy. Last book you recommended to someone. So I was thinking, I was like, when was the last time I recommended a book to someone? And then it hit me smack bang in the face, and I was like, oh yes, yesterday, like literally last night. Basically, India, from what India read, was on reading sprints. I posted on my Instagram story that I was watching the reading sprint. They were buddy reading Final Girls by Riley Sager, and I absolutely love all of the books that I read from him. I read the first 3, and just, they give me all the classic horror movie, cheesy, slashery, everything vibes that I need. And I love his books. But anyway, they were reading Final Girls, and I was like, as I was saying on my story that I really wanted to reread it, and then India basically messaged saying that like she was really enjoying it, so I was like, Oh, it's really good that you're really enjoying it. You should totally read all of his other ones, because all the ones that I've read have been immaculate. They have been perfection. I absolutely love them. So I guess that's kind of the last book / books that I have recommended to someone. Oldest book you've read by publication date. I am not actually going to research that, because that would take me a while. I'm gonna have to guess it's not really a book, it's a play, but like any of the plays that I've read by Shakespeare. So I don't know the publication order of them, but I've read Macbeth, I read Hamlet, because I kind of had to, because it's about a Danish prince, so, and also I just really wanted to read the line "something is rotten in the state of Denmark," because if you live in the countryside in Denmark, then something definitely is rotten there. And have I read it? I think I read A Midsummer's Night's Dream. A Midsummer Night's Dream. I can't remember how it said, but like I think I read those three. I don't think I read any others. So basically any of the Shakespeare that I've read is probably the earliest piece of work that I've read. The next question is naturally the newest book that you have read. Newest as in by publication order or publication date. So I read The Project by Courtney Summers a couple of months back, and I think this is probably the book that is like the newest in terms of publication order that I've read. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm not quite sure, but I think it is, because it came out in February, I want to say. Question number 12 is your favourite author. As you might be able to tell, I've got quite a big Stephen King collection. Most people know that already, and I wouldn't necessarily say he's my favourite author. I don't think I have one favourite author, but he's definitely a favourite in terms of I would read a lot of his stuff. I would also say that John Mars, I've only read 3 of his books, but I really enjoyed all of them, and they were the ones that sort of had the Black Mirror, like sci-fi thriller vibes, and I really, really liked that. So John Mars, but also Riley Sager, kind of have to mention him again, because the 3 books that I have read by him as well, they were just like superb, and they just, I think the theme is that I like things that are quite twisty and quite like, if it's like Black Mirror vibes, or if it's like 80s and 90s slashery, like cheesy horror vibes, I will eat it up. Question number 13 is buying books or borrowing books. It will for me always be buying books. There's something about having your own book that just speaks to my soul. I love it. I love having my own books. I cherish my books, like they honestly are some of my most prized possessions. I really love having, I know that it's expensive, but I also really love having my own books, because it means that if I find a book that I really, really love, I've got it there to reread whenever I want. Question number 14 is a book that you disliked that everyone seems to love. Oh, do you know what? I do have a question. No, I do have an answer for that. And it's not that I necessarily disliked it, I just did not get what I thought I was going to get from it, and that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Everyone loves it. And I think it's because it's one of those quintessential, like, coming of age, teenage stories, and everyone loves it and everyone loves the film. I haven't seen the film, but like the book, I read it and I was like, is that it? Like I was missing something. And like I wouldn't necessarily say at this point in time that I liked it. I wouldn't say I disliked it. I think it was kind of somewhere in the middle of like, I think I gave it 3 stars. I might need to reread it at some point to see if my opinions have changed. But like genuinely, I didn't. I apologise to everyone out there who loves this book, because I know there's so many people who are like, it's like one of their absolute favourites, but I don't know, didn't really do it for me. Question number 15, like, do I need to answer this? Dog-earing books or using bookmarks? I'm just like, I'm searching for a reason for anyone not to answer bookmarks. Like, honestly, why? Question number 16 is a book that I can always reread. And I'm not actually quite sure about that. I think that like the logical thing would be a book that is like quite an easy read. Do you know what, one book that I don't think I've reread it that much, but one book that I think I would always fall back on is Coraline, just because obviously it's like a children's book, it's like a middle grade, it's easy to read, it's got all the vibes that I love, and Coraline, the story of it is just so amazing to me. Like, I love it so much. I also love the film. Like, anyone that says that they don't like Coraline the film, either you're a wuss or you wouldn't know what a good film is if it smacks you in the face. Question 17 is, can you read while you're listening to music? And I can do that, and funny story, I actually started off not being able to do it, but I wanted to. So I started listening to sort of softer things like Folklore and Evermore from Taylor Swift, because like they're kind of perfect. It's got the perfect vibes for reading, in my opinion. And started listening to that while I was reading, and then eventually I sort of graduated to like listening to like more upbeat stuff. The only example that I could give is that like I could probably listen to Youngblood and MGK while I'm reading, potentially something like Green Day, maybe even Panic at the Disco. Like, I could listen to that kind of stuff while I'm reading, I think. I don't do it very often. Question number 18 is one point of view or multiple. Again, this depends on what kind of book it is, but like I personally really like multiple perspectives as long as it's done well and there's not way too many. But like there's been cases where I've read a book and it's just had one perspective and I've been very happy with that. And then again, some of my favourite books have many perspectives, such as the 3 thrillers that I've read from John Mars, because he does the multiple perspective thing really well, like in the sense that he doesn't just do it in a typical fashion of we follow person A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. He sort of mixes it up to keep you on your toes, to keep you sort of guessing and trying to get, you have to get through a certain amount of chapters in order to get back to the person that you're really interested in, which I think is just super clever, so I really enjoy that. I also enjoy the fact that from multiple perspectives you can get obviously different ideas and different views on things. Question number 19 is, can you read a book in one sitting, or do you do it over multiple sittings or multiple days? And I don't think I've ever read a book like an actual novel in one sitting. I don't think I would be able to do that just because I'm too restless. Well, I say restless, it's not so much that, it's more like my brain, like I can't just sit and read for hours and hours. I have to kind of like read and then take a little bit of a break. So for the most part it's over multiple days. I don't think I have ever read a book in one sitting. Question number 20 is the final one. It's my age. Question number 20 is, who do you tag to do this video? And I don't tag anyone specifically. I am just going to say that if you are watching this video and you want to do the video, then do the tag and be my guest, go ahead, do it. I would love to see your video, especially if you're my friend, because I love watching my friends do the tags that I've done so that we can compare like our answers and stuff like that. I am just going to say one person I am tagging specifically is Emily, purely because last time I tagged her in a video she was so excited and I was like, yes, like I like the excitement, it's something that I need, it invigorates me. So Emily, if you're watching this, I would love you to do the tag. So that was the end of my little video for this tag and for my birthday, and I really hope you enjoyed it. My last tag video did quite well, and that wasn't that long ago, so I feel like maybe tag videos are like something I should do more of. I don't know, it just seems like there's quite a good response to them, so I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in my next video.